All right, well, good afternoon, Carbon County Commissioner Chris Lukasiewicz. I'm just getting set up here. This is the meeting after the meeting. So that is the virtual meeting after the commissioners meeting. I'm actually working on Zoom right now because I want to do a little bit of screen sharing just to show some images and graphics. So bear with me as we kind of play around here and kind of push the envelope of technology during today's, the 10 December edition of the meeting after the meeting. And so I'm going to be looking at my Zoom screen, plus I have the Facebook screen where I'm looking at comments. I have to do a bit of sharing. So again, give me a couple minutes to all get situated here and we'll get her going. Beautiful day out there. Sun's coming out. It's going to warm up. Going to be pretty darn nice here in Carbon County. There's actually a pretty nice snow that we had yesterday. All right, Carbon County Commissioner Chris Lukasiewicz. This is the meeting after the meeting where I'd like to go ahead and recap some of the highlights of today's commissioners meeting. Also, I am available to answer any questions you may have. Let's see if it's up on my page here. Okay, yep. If you're on the C4 Commissioner Facebook page, that's where comments should actually be posted that need an immediate response. You can also always give me a call at 570, and I'll type it in, 570-503-6780. So let's go ahead. Let's talk a little bit about today's commissioners meeting and what has transpired. Number one, probably first and foremost, you did see a couple of change orders for work in the commissioners conference room. It's about $5,000 or $6,000 increase in the about a $5,000 to $6,000 increase in the overall authorization or budget for upgrades in the commissioners conference room. However, it's all technology. It's about high definition camera system, the audio system, the projection system, so that the county government is better able to bring county government into your living room onto your smart device. Now, as you know, there's a couple of years where it was, Chris Lukasiewicz there with his iPhone, filming or videographic, it's almost like doing the videography, projecting those meetings out there. Fortunately, we're at the point now where the county has fully adopted the fact that we need to be live streaming and bringing county government to you officially, instead of kind of informally how it was done by private citizens in the past. Now, part of that obviously is the investment in infrastructure so that we're able to communicate as effectively and efficiently as possible. So the quality cameras, the quality audio system, all the funding for this, it's in the neighborhood of about $25,000, and this also includes the transcription system that had to be upgraded. We're still using cassette tapes to record the meetings so that could go ahead and be transcribed or the minutes created. So it's about $25,000. And what I will do, probably in the next couple of weeks, I'll go ahead and with the IT guys, we'll give a tour of the conference room and the IT area where everything is controlled, just so county residents will have a better understanding of the investment that's being made to bring county government into your living room, to your smart device, to your computer, and create that interaction, and importantly, the transparency that is so critically important. So that was one item. So change orders, and no doubt, as they get in and start going through, you see additions that need to be made. I think overall, 2 or 3% above what was actually projected. So not too bad, although we would have loved to nail it on the head right from the very beginning. But again, we had a couple test runs. I think folks might have watched those. Was it a week or two ago? Right after Thanksgiving, we did a couple test runs and stuff, and things are up and working really well. We have one more visit by the technicians to finish things up. And then as we start working our way, migrating commissioners' meetings back to the conference room, probably early next year or sometime maybe in late January, February, once some of the COVID issues are mitigated, we'll be back in there and highlighting that new investment in technology. That's a change order. And probably much bigger than that. And I'm going to do a screen share here. All right. All right. All right. And you should be able to see my screen share. That screen share, which should be showing right now, would be COVID-19 Carbon County block grant spreadsheet. That particular timeline is what we've been adhering to currently. About a 60-day process, right? From about 16 October to 10 December, a little short of that, and 60 days was our second round. And let me talk about that second round. If you go to carboncounty.com and to the portal, that transparency spreadsheet for the second round is now posted. Let me see, I might even be able to post it right here too, if it's still in my, oh, hold on. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and link the, I'm gonna get the hyperlink for the transparency spreadsheet. And I'm gonna go ahead and put that right there in the comments section here on Facebook. So if you guys want to go back and take a look at what the second round looks like, there it is. It's posted. In the meantime, let me talk about some of the awarding that has taken place. So in the second round, we had a total of 80 awards that were granted. There were some ineligibles, as there always are. They did not meet the CARES Act or DCED eligibility requirement. 7 tourism entities, 10 nonprofits, 1 municipality, and 62 small businesses. So take that 80, add it to the first round, 227 plus the county, for a total of 308 applicant awardees. I think significant in this round is just about, if I recall, is about $1.1 million are in the ballpark for this round, which was awarded. There was 3.6, 3.7 in the first round. So we're at a total of 4.8 million. Matter of fact, I think it was 1.003 this round. So 308 different entities, nonprofits, small businesses, tourism entities, nonprofits, municipalities, behavioral health entities were awarded about $4.8 million. That's approximately 82% of the total $5.796 million that the county received. 18%, more or less, was utilized by the county to respond, prevent, and prepare for this second wave. We'll be finalizing the county expenditures between now and the 15th. After the 15th, when we prepare to submit our final report to DCED, the Department of Community Economic Development, we will post on the transparency uh, spreadsheet area of the portal, will detail all the expenditures that county government made. And that's to include the administration fee. Now, DCED allocated 2% of our total funds uh, for administrative matters. And that was primarily used for a financial uh, expert, Jeff, who currently does have a contract. So his contract was increased. And what he did, he helped as part of the block grant administrative group to ensure eligibility requirements were being met. He looked at all the profit and loss statements, the tax documents that had to be provided to ensure entities were eligible in accordance with the CARES Act. But I want to say the fact that 82% went to entities, groups, services is a very, very high ratio. Many of you who might give to nonprofits recognize, if overhead is below 20%, that's considered an excellent investment, meaning that entity is putting over 80% of its funds into the actual service it says it's providing. So I'm extremely proud of the county and the process that was in place. And what I'd like to do is take a couple minutes and talk about the overall process, what has transpired in these 2 rounds of block grant funds. And again, you're looking at the process there on my screen share at this time is what you should be seeing. All right. So for me, the COVID-19 Relief Carbon County Block Grant Program, I'm specifically talking about how we organized and ran the program, is truly how county government should be operating all the time, not just once in a while, right? It should be the norm, not the anomaly, right? So we clearly went out, we identified a purpose, right? We want to provide that CARES Act financial aid to eligible entities to increase the likelihood of their survivability, while also ensuring that entities and organizations could continue to provide services and protect the health of county residents, right? That respond, prevent, and prepare for the next wave of COVID-19. And how did we do that? Developed a methodical process, and you see that on the slide, and we assembled a team of teams, right? Comprised of subject matter experts from business, nonprofits, tourism, municipalities, in order to execute a plan that, in my, I'm going to say, objective opinion, was transparent, held decision makers accountable, that is the Carbon County Commissioners, and ensured a fair process and a distribution of funds in a time-sensitive manner. Less than 8 weeks, we were able to get funds out from the time we started the process, as an example of the second rounds, right? And we did that all in accordance with, seemingly for the first month or so, daily or weekly changes in DCED guidelines. And we were supported by a very aggressive, or our overall campaign was supported by a very aggressive information and awareness campaign, getting the word out on the street about the program, because part of our end state, what we are looking to achieve with the financial resources available, was we want to minimize the unawares, those entities, individuals, organizations who weren't aware there was this money available. We wanted citizens and applicants to have visibility on each and every step and where the funds were going, who was making those decisions, were there a conflict of interest? And of course, if they did, they would recuse themselves versus voting yes or no. And importantly also is those who were deemed ineligible, ensuring they understood why. Every dollar allocated, right, that was critical to us. We didn't want to return 1 penny of our tax money back to the federal government or back to the pool of state money for redistribution to other counties, right? And of course, this whole time in the end state was looking at, we want to increase the probability of survivability the probability of survivability of these entities while minimizing the overall impact of COVID-19 on our community. And at the end of the day, I truly believe we set a new standard, a standard of excellence for how government programs should be run. Now, let's hope we can take the lessons learned here, because it wasn't flawless by any means. You know, no plan survives first contact, and we were adjusting as we needed to do during this entire process. But I'm hoping we can take the best practices and lessons learned, or what I call the TTPs, tactics, techniques, and procedures of this process, and implement them into future programs and processes and policies that county government will be responsible for running. So again, at the end of the day, 308 entities were supported. 58% of them came from small business. So nearly, probably close to 175 to 200 in that ballpark. Yet 28% of the awardees were from the nonprofit community and 7% from tourism. And often what you see, tourism and small business are quite similar. There might be a difference in the size of the entity. Therefore, it didn't qualify under small business, but it may have qualified under tourism, or it may have been how that entity decided to categorize itself in the process. So again, emphasize 4.8 to 5.79 million dollars, or about 82% of the funds, went to other than the county or administration fees. So that's the COVID-19 block grant. All right, next, what I want to do is shift just a little bit here to a comment I made during a commissioner's report. And I would ask those of you who have an interest in Right to Know, the Sunshine Act, be it with the municipalities, be it with boards or commissions of the municipalities or the school districts in Carbon County. Join me tonight. I'm going to be joined by with Martha Gouger from the Times News, Melissa Muliski from the Media Law Council, George Spias, the Chief of Outreach and Training from the Office of Open Records, and Simon Campbell, who's a Transparency Sunshine Act advocate. And we're going to have an hour and a half discussion on the Sunshine Act, the right to know, right? Let's better educate ourselves about the right to know. Now, you know, I'm a big believer in we need to have less right to knows and more you already know. And again, how do we do that? By communicating to the residents of Carbon County, ensuring you have access, even in these challenging times, to the meetings that are taking place and the decisions that are being made by your elected officials. So I would ask, consider joining me. It'll be a virtual Zoom meeting, but we'll live stream it not only on the Carbon County Commissioners page, but of course, I'll push it to the different groups and pages that I'm involved with on Facebook. And I'm going to ask those who participate tonight, not only the panel members, but the public, once we go live onto Facebook, you know, a couple minutes prior to actually starting at 7:30, I want you to go ahead and share it to your groups in Carbon County and beyond, right? In Pennsylvania, in the United States. Let's talk about right to know. Let's talk about the Sunshine Act. Let's talk about ensuring the public understands what county government, what its school districts are doing, and what your rights, our rights are in regards to the Sunshine Act. Let me see, I think I got one more here. All right. I also want to talk about an item that did not come up in this week's commissioner meeting, but actually last week's county commissioner meeting. And that was our social media policy. I've recognized there was a failure in county government communicating with the citizens of Carbon County. That's why, of course, I pushed the live streaming and led that effort, the transparency of the COVID-19 program and that process of procedures. An additional step of that was to get the departments to begin communicating to you more effectively, right? In the Army, when it comes to logistics, we want a push system versus pull. That is, a unit out in the field shouldn't be telling the supply entities that they need a resupply, more ammo, more food, more water. The logisticians should be already anticipating it and pushing that forward. So that's how we have to be about information to you all, right? To the citizens of Carbon County and those who use the services for which we have a statutory responsibility to provide, right? We need to be pushing information out to you. And that is helpful in that the more information we provide you to make a decision or understand the services that are available, the less calls in, the less distractions from doing those services they will be. So part of that is the social media policy that I pushed through here over about the last 4.5 to 6 months. And I first, as I was developing the social media policy, went out to other counties, saw what they have. And at the same time, parallel, doing a survey of county departments of, do you have a need for a Facebook page? And immediately, of about a little over 20 departments in Carbon County, I had 6 entities that responded promptly and recognized the value of social media, particularly in this case, Facebook, as a platform to communicate with county residents and service users, right? So surprisingly, I thought, agency on aging, right? You would think that the older generation isn't on Facebook, on social media. They are, and I found in my own experience that while they're not as vocal and posting regularly, there is an extremely large passive audience out there where senior citizens are seeking information on Facebook. So the Agency on Aging understood that. They said, yes, absolutely need a Facebook page. Veterans Affairs, Children and Youth Services, GIS mapping, emergency management, and planning development all stepped forward and said, yes, 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 yes. Yeah, it's 6 yeses. Now, I think other departments I'm actually disappointed in because they've yet to understand the value, the necessity to communicate information to you. Because I'll tell you, our website is a disaster. Now, there will be $60,000 in the budget to completely redo our website and make it a tool that provides much more effective and efficient information. And again, to increase transparency for you. But that's next year. That's up by one technology project for next year, amongst other things. But my disappointment is that there are certain offices, I have no doubt, if I was boss for a day in that office, I could see the value of communicating via Facebook to constituent, to user of my services. And my expectation is in the next few months, as these first 6, let's call them pilot departments, roll out the use of Facebook, others are going to recognize the value and request authority to have a Facebook page under the umbrella, Carbon County Commissioners, where they'll have their separate department pages. And you know what? There's going to be a few offices that might have to, or will go and do it kicking and screaming. But again, you want buy-in because, as you know, if you're not posting, if you're not keeping that Facebook page current and providing valuable information, it's not going to be used by the public. So again, buy-in by the department heads, and to have a solid content manager as an individual who's posting on a regular basis, responding to inquiries is critically important. So in about 6 months after we get started, I'll go ahead and do an assessment and see how the initial entities are doing to ensure that we're maximizing the value of social media. All right, let's see, one more. So that's the social media policy that you probably see screening right there. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to stop sharing here. I'm going to go back to Chris Lukasevich on the screen, and we're going to finish up here in the next 5 minutes or so. I'll do a quick check for any comments that might be out there that are live streaming on the C4 Commissioner page where this live stream is hosted. And again, I do push it out to other groups. And what I will do tonight or tomorrow, I'll go into those other feeds and take a look. And if there are comments there, I'll go ahead and answer them. Again, you can always reach me at 570-503-6780, 570-503-6780. Last thing on the commissioners meeting, in the personnel report, there was a reconfirmation of part-time meter attendance that was approved. And what is that about? Well, it was a procedural matter. We needed documentation showing that our quote-unquote part-time meter attendants would be issuing citations for parking violations, because we have to apply to the Pennsylvania State Police for what's called an ORI, if I recall. It's originating agency identifier. So when citations are cited, there's a tracking number back to the entity that was citing them. And that also allows us for the planned use of a third party organization to help us collect these violation fines, specifically from a previously difficult collection group, which are those out of state violators of the county parking ordinance and the parking statutes that are associated with the county parking policy. Over parking, not parking between the lines, illegally parking in a handicapped space, those type of things. So again, that was just an administrative matter to help us with the application process. So again, this is Carbon County Commissioner Chris Lukasevich. This is the meeting after the meeting, where I'd like to go ahead, make myself available, recap the Carbon County Commissioners meeting. Also at the same time, I like to go ahead and provide another opportunity to engage with me, but I'm always available at clukasevich@carboncounty.net. Charlie Lima Uniform Kilo Alpha Sierra Echo Victor India Charlie Hotel at carboncounty.net, or give me a call at 570-503-6780 at any time. You can also call the office down here at the county, 570-325-3611. And again, please consider, lastly, joining me tonight at 7:30 with Marty Gauser, Melissa, George, Simon, as we have a Right to Know panel discussion, Sunshine Act. It'll be on Facebook, live streaming in a virtual Zoom forum. So again, have a great day. Chris Lukasevich will be ending it right here.